Hello and welcome to the channel. So in today's video I'll be discussing whether Boohoo is actually worth buying, whether it's got scope of doing a 30x that's currently on 28 pence, and whether it could reach £7.50, or whether Boohoo is going straight to the shits. So we'll discuss that in today's video. So as you can see at the moment, Boohoo is currently on 29 pence. It dropped to 28, but at the time of recording this video it's gone back up now. As you can see, within such a short period of time it's just jumped up within a day. I was planning on doing this video a couple of days earlier, but unfortunately due to other commitments I was unable to actually do this video. So firstly we'll discuss Boohoo in itself, whether it's got scope to actually recover from the current place it's in. We've seen other stocks jump up quite a lot, such as Rolls-Royce, Nvidia, Netflix, those stocks which people had wrote off for quite some time, and then all of a sudden they just started pumping at a rate of knots. Now the question is, can Boohoo do the same? Well, we'll discuss the issues which Boohoo had historically in terms of when the price started to drop, and then whether there's scope here, or whether there's juice to be squeezed out of the current investment. So the opinion might be a bit biased because I'm an investor myself in Boohoo, but I'm at a loss, and I have contemplated on selling, but if I do sell, then I would be extremely out of pocket. So let's go into the analysis first, and then I'll confirm what I'll be doing with my holdings. So first of all, the issue started when Boohoo had ethical issues. So they had inadequate supply chain issues, issues about animal welfare and the staff welfare in some of the factories. They had issues regarding the tax avoidance, the testing of products, testing of materials, and so on and so forth. And then after that point, we had issues with inflation increasing at a rate of knots, which had an impact on the supply chain. And then after that, that had an impact on the reportings, which had a huge impact. Now, in terms of the current earnings are down by 17%. In terms of the revenue, the net income is down by 51%, and the net profit margin is down by 83%. So I understand why people are jumping ship at this stage, and that's why the actual the actual share price has taken a massive hit due to these issues. Now, another sort of issue that's linked to it is the fact that when the supply chain issues occurred, the CEO's son, Kumar Makani or whatever his name is, can't really pronounce it, but his son actually jumped ship as well. So it's one of those where a lot of the actual people that were with Boohoo to begin with, who actually grew the business to where it was at the peak, a lot of them started jumping ship. They had this guy from Primark, this John Little, who's the current CEO at the moment. They had him, and they were expecting him to actually take it to the next level, but frankly he hasn't really done much. So it's one of those where I think there's a combination of issues here. One is the fact that the inflation's had a huge impact and people have not been spending as much. You've got a lot of competition, and you've also got a lot of people that have been leaving the organisation. They've started charging for returns, which had a huge impact. A lot of people stopped actually purchasing from them and started going to their competitors. So there were a wide range of issues here. Now, on the plus point, if we look at it, they still do have a niche in the market, and they do have other shares in other organisations. So you've got Revolution Beauty, you've got Debenhams, you've got other organisations that Boohoo have got a hand in various other pies. And what you have to bear in mind is that although the supply chain issues and the various other problems which occurred to Boohoo, these issues actually occurred to other organisations. So for example, take Sports Direct, for example, and Primark, they had these issues as well about unethical testing and not looking after their members of staff, and so on and so forth. These ethical issues were also highlighted with those organisations, but they managed to actually work through that, and they are doing well. Another thing is that Mike Ashley keeps buying in to this organisation. Now, he clearly must know something about this organisation that he keeps buying in. to me it sounds as though he's likely to get more than 51% share in the organization, so he could get an actual say in what goes on, because that's what it sounds like. It sounds as though he keeps buying the dip to the point where Fraser Group will just end up buying the majority of the shares, more than 50%. Now, I think there is scope here to make a bit of money. At the moment, as you can see, it's down 29 pence. It's down 25, close enough to 25% for the year, and it's down by 86% by over the past 5 years. The peak was at what, £4. And it's one of those where if you have a look since it started, it's literally reaching almost the all-time low at 25 pence. So I think there's huge scope here. I think they've still got cash in the bank. I don't think they're in trouble as of yet. They can turn this around. They do need to make a couple of things though. I think one is they need to change the CEO because they need investors' confidence. Usually when organizations hit rock bottom like this, generally change the CEO. And what happens is that gives investors confidence to invest back in. The second thing is they need to actually reduce the non-core assets. So organizations which are not making them as much money as Boohoo itself, for example Debenhams and so on and so forth, they need to get rid of them because they're just an anchor dragging them down. And at the moment, the fact that the cash flow, the net income and the net profit margin is down by such huge margins would indicate that they need to do something drastically. Another plus point is that, as I mentioned previously, the ethical issues already occurred to other organisations. They managed to work through it, so that's not a problem. Inflation is starting to die down now as well. It's not as high as it was once, so I think that would help them as well. Overall, I think it's a good investment in my opinion. I would be investing in here. At the moment, I've already invested and my average is down to 70 pence. I think I'll try to get that down to 50. I don't think it'll reach £7.50. Maybe in 10-15 years it may do, depending upon if they manage to work through the current tough times that they're in. But I actually think that the most it'll probably reach over the next 4 to 5 years is maybe about 75 to 80 pence. So that's why I'll be trying to average mine down as much as possible. As soon as when it reaches 70-80 pence, I'll probably cash out and go elsewhere. I think it's one of those type of brands which is not particularly a household name. It's solely based in the UK, and one of those which I would rather go with household names like your Teslas and your Googles and that sort of thing. So it's a lot of money that I've got tied up in here, but it was one of the first investments I ever made when I first started investing in the stock market, and it was, I'd say, one of the actual regrets that I have of dabbling in individual stocks. But I suppose if you don't dabble in this sort of thing earlier on, you won't learn from your mistakes. So I think I'll be keeping hold of Boohoo. If it goes to zero and I lose out, so be it. It is what it is. But I think there's scope here for a bit of profit here. But it depends on what your strategy is and what you want to do. I think there's a couple of positives here, but there's an awful lot of negatives, so you have to weigh out what you want to do. I think it's a good penny stock and it will rise. Not anytime soon, but once we weave through this sort of treacle in terms of the bad times that they're in, the price should improve. We've seen it with various other stocks recently. We've had Rolls-Royce that hit rock bottom. Look what price they're on at the moment. You've seen Aston Martin down at all record lows. Look what price they're on at the moment. So I think there's scope here that they will jump, but they do need to turn it around. So it would be a matter of making rash decisions, but harsh decisions at the same time, where it's for the good. And normally the CEO generally takes a chop in these types of scenarios. So I think, yeah, they pretty much do need to get rid of the CEO at this stage, or bring someone in who is known for actually turning over businesses and making them, improving them. So I think that's what my opinion is anyway. Let me know what your thoughts are about Boohoo. I know it's a lot of people either hate it because they've lost out a lot of money. Some people really like it because they made a lot of money in it, but they just keep an eye on the market and just see what the current progress is and what other people have to say. So let me know in the comments below, and if you like the content, please do share, like, and let me know what your thoughts are. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.